I was the favorite in every room, but I couldn't feel my own name echo back. The spotlight fit me perfectly, but my soul kept flinching like it didn't want to be seen. They laughed at all the right moments, nodded when I spoke, like my voice came pre-wrapped in wisdom. I became the comfort in chaos, the easy-to-love character, main character energy with none of the mess, and it worked, until it didn't. That night, I sat on the dressing room chair while the applause bled out through the velvet curtains. The lights buzzed. My reflection stared back like it owed me answers. My makeup was half wiped. My phone lit up with unread messages. Everyone said I was magnetic, but I couldn't find a single part of me that felt real. I don't think I was faking it. I was just rehearsed. Every compliment, memorized. Every smile, measured. Every version of me, filtered for ease of digestion. And when you live like that long enough, you start forgetting the sound of your unscripted voice. I told a joke I didn't find funny. They laughed like it healed them. I nodded along to an opinion that quietly bruised something soft in me. They called me understanding. I posed in a photo that looked just polished enough to be posted. They commented, "You look so happy." But I wasn't unhappy. That's the hard part. I just wasn't present. I was everything they wanted, except alive. It's not always sadness that breaks you. Sometimes it's success. The kind that claps for you, but never asks how you're really doing. The kind that teaches you how to show up for others, while slowly vanishing for yourself. I used to call it charisma. Now I wonder if it was just survival with good lighting. I remember the playlist I made called Confident Vibes. Now every track feels like a cover song, upbeat but hollow. I said I was in my healing era. But really, I was just learning to disappear gracefully. It was easier when no one expected anything. When I could mess up and laugh and fall apart without trending for it. But now I have to glow through grief, pose through panic, perform through pain, because the room likes me. And when the room likes you, you don't want to disappoint the light, even if it means dimming your truth. There's a weird kind of ache that comes when you're surrounded by love, but starving for understanding. When you're praised for being grounded, but no one sees the earthquake behind your ribs. I didn't want attention. I wanted recognition. The kind that looks past your performance and sees your pulse. But how could they? Even I forgot to check if I still had one. The mirror didn't lie. It just went quiet, like it was waiting for me to speak first. But I didn't know what to say. The version in the glass looked like me, but smoother, cleaner, better lit. So I just wiped the rest of the makeup off. Not because I was done performing, but because I couldn't remember why I started. I used to say I was an open book. Now I realize I just highlighted the safe pages, the ones that made me likable, relatable, undeniably fine. No one saw the margins, the messy notes in the corners, the underlying cries for help disguised as self-deprecating jokes. There was a text I never sent, just 3 words. I feel invisible, but I deleted it. Because how do you explain invisibility when everyone's looking at you? I watched the typing bubble disappear, then sat in that same silence I'd mastered so well. If silence was a currency, I'd be rich in rooms full of noise. That night I curled up on the corner of the bed, the one that didn't face the mirror. I scrolled through my own story twice, muted it, then watched it again, not to check views, but to check if I still felt anything. I didn't. Sometimes. The worst kind of loneliness is the kind that claps for you, the kind that wears heels and compliments and eye contact, the kind that holds your hand in public and forgets you exist when the crowd disperses. And the strangest thing is, you smile anyway, because you don't want the room to feel bad, even when it forgets you were ever in it. I'm really good at being liked, but not so good at being known. there's a difference. Being liked is decoration. Being known is nakedness. And I think I've forgotten how to be bare. I used to think I was disappearing all at once, like a dramatic heartbreak, a scream in the rain, some poetic collapse. But no, it was quieter than that. I didn't vanish like a door slamming shut. I faded like lights on a dimmer, slowly, silently. And nobody noticed, not even me. It starts in the little things. The things you can explain away if you say them fast enough, like, just tired, just forgot, just not in the mood, just being silly. But it's not silly. It's the beginning of grief, the kind where you lose yourself and pretend it's rest. Let me show you what it looked like for me. Charisma wounds, persona behaviors. A soft diary of things I did to disappear while pretending I was fine. 1. You say what they want to hear, because rejection sounds louder than truth. So you rewrite yourself, sentence by sentence. One night I said me too to something that never fit me. I think I lost a piece of myself in that syllable. 2. You keep it light, always light, because honesty might make them walk away. You call it good vibes, but it's really fear with good lighting. I once told a joke at a funeral, not because I found anything funny, but because I panicked at the silence. 3. You overthink every post, every smile, because vulnerability feels like exposure. So you hide your depth beneath aesthetic calm. I took 27 versions of one selfie, then didn't post any, because none of them looked like someone worth caring about. 4. You're praised for being composed, but no one knows your chest is always tight. Peace is your costume, not your condition. People call me grounded, but I can't sleep without playing ocean sounds loud enough to drown my own thoughts. 5. You check their story and don't react, because reaching out might look needy. So you train your heart to pretend it's not beating as fast as it is. I saw their name light up, typed, "Hey," backspaced, went to bed with the taste of unsent truth in my mouth. 6. You mirror people's energy, because having a personality feels risky. So you become a reflection instead of a person. I laughed at a joke I didn't get, because being confused felt scarier than being invisible. 7. You're known by everyone, but remembered by no one. Because you give so much, but hold nothing. So you become the favorite accessory, but never the main character. I show up in their photos, but not their plans. I exist in their group chat, but not in their heart. And yet, every time someone asked if I was okay, I smiled too quickly, too brightly, like I had rehearsed the lie in the mirror, because I had. I wasn't trying to lie. I was trying to survive, to earn a seat at the table, to make the silence like me. But every time I dimmed for comfort, I trained the world to expect less of me, less truth, less volume, less presence. You ever have those moments where someone tells a story and you realize you were there, but they forgot you? That's a special kind of ghosting. One that doesn't block your number, just your existence. And still I kept showing up like an unpaid actor in a show where I never got a speaking role. Because somewhere deep down, I thought if I kept being likable enough, I'd be loved eventually. That maybe if I earned enough applause, someone would finally ask what I sound like when I'm not performing. But no one did. So I started talking to myself in voice notes I never played back. Not because I liked the sound, but because I wanted proof I hadn't vanished completely. I don't blame them. Not really. It's hard to see someone vanish when they're always smiling. Hard to recognize grief when it's wearing glitter. Hard to rescue someone who says, "I'm good," before you even ask. But maybe this is me asking now. Not loudly, not with fireworks, just softly. I'm still here, even if I don't know how to show up all the way yet. Is that enough for today? There's a moment after the applause ends, not silence exactly, more like static, like the air doesn't know what to do without sound. That's what it felt like. The second I closed the door behind me, the second I exhaled someone else's version of me. Quiet, but not peace, just static. Carl Jung once wrote, "The persona is not the real person. It's the mask we wear for the world." And I think I gasped when I read that line. Because I realized I'd been wearing mine so long, I forgot it had straps. The smile, the timing, the tone, all of it, perfectly placed, perfectly performed. And then I got good at it. No, I got applauded for it. I didn't become fake. I became digestible, like an easy-to-swallow version of a storm, like trauma with good lighting, like sadness in a font that gets shared. They liked me. They reposted me. They quoted me. But did they see me? There's this weird pressure to be raw now. But aesthetic raw, the kind that still looks good on camera. You're allowed to cry, but only if you wear mascara that runs photogenically. You can talk about anxiety, but God forbid your voice actually shake. Authenticity has rules now, and I learned how to follow them. I once deleted a post because I looked too real in it, like my eyes were asking for something no emoji could give. I posted a quote instead, something vague, something poetic, something that sounded like healing, but didn't actually say anything. It got over 200 likes. That's when I learned the truth. You don't have to be okay. You just have to look okay enough for others to stay comfortable. So I curated everything. My joy, my pain, my personality, my depth. Because charisma is cheaper than closeness, and performance is safer than rejection. And in a world where everyone's watching, sometimes survival looks like sparkle. But here's what no one told me. If you perform long enough, you start believing the script. You say, "I'm fine" enough times, and it becomes your ringtone. You dance around your truth so often, you forget what standing still feels like. One night, I turned my camera on, front-facing, no filter, no light. I just wanted to see what my face looked like without trying. I stared. Then I smiled. It didn't reach. Not because I was sad, but because I didn't recognize the expression. Or the person wearing it. That was the rupture moment, the quiet collapse. The realization that I wasn't lying to the world. I was scared the truth wouldn't get applause. That if I showed up raw, unshaped, chaotic, they'd scroll past. Because let's be honest, who claps for mess? The truth? I clapped louder for myself when I lied convincingly than when I whispered something real. Because real doesn't trend. There's a part of me that's still proud of the persona I built. It protected me. It got me rooms. It helped me survive nights where silence would have swallowed me whole. But survival is not the same as living. And that's where the ache starts. Not from the lie, but from the realization that it was rewarded. That the more I edited myself, the more they loved me. So now I sit with the question, what if I've built my entire life on being easy to love? I tried saying something real once. Mid-conversation, raw, unpolished. The air changed. Their eyes darted. And someone said, "Damn, that's deep. You good though?" I laughed. Too quickly and changed the subject. Because sometimes it's not rejection we fear. It's the look in someone's eye that says, "That's too much." That look can silence a soul for years. I've been called too much before. Too intense. Too emotional. Too deep. So I became less. I dulled the colors. I softened the volume. Until the only thing left was someone palatable, performative, polished. clapworthy, but lonely. I didn't wake up one day and decide to be real. There was no grand moment, no dramatic monologue in front of a mirror, no soft piano music playing as I declared, "I'm done pretending." It was smaller than that. Quieter, like peeling off tape from skin you didn't realize was raw. The first time I let the mask slip, no one clapped. I said, "I'm tired," and didn't add a joke after. I left a message on read and didn't apologize. I took a photo and didn't filter it. I cried and didn't wipe it away before someone walked in, and the world didn't end. But part of me did, the part that thought I needed to be curated, to be loved. So I stopped trying to impress the room. I let people sit in my silence. And that's when I noticed something terrifying. Not everyone stayed. Some drifted, some ghosted, some just paused and never hit play again. I thought I'd feel devastated, but all I felt was honest. Here's the thing about masks. They don't just hide your flaws. They hide your pain, your passion, your poetry. They cover the cracks, but they also dim the light that seeps through them. And when I started removing mine, I realized how many people only liked me because I never made them uncomfortable. I used to text first, every time, even when I didn't want to, even when they left me on read. I thought being consistent would eventually earn me consistency back. But love doesn't work like that, and neither does respect. So now I wait, not out of spite, but out of self-respect, because I'm learning. The people who see you don't need subtitles. I used to say sorry for everything, sorry for asking, sorry for needing, sorry for being. Now I pause and ask myself, did I actually do something wrong? Most of the time, the answer is no. I was just afraid of being seen in my fullness and not being chosen. Here's what happens when you stop performing. You lose the crowd, but you find your people, the ones who don't flinch when you're quiet, the ones who don't need your sparkle to stay, the ones who sit with your sadness like it's not something to fix, but something sacred to witness. I once told someone I didn't agree with them. No sugarcoating, no passive nodding, just, "That doesn't feel right to me." They blinked, paused, then smiled and said, "Thanks for telling me." I almost cried, not because they agreed, but because they didn't walk away. That's when I realized I'd been building connection through compromise, when what I needed was communion through truth. I started writing again, not for Instagram, not for likes, just for me. Messy words, ugly thoughts, beautiful chaos. I wrote truths I didn't want anyone to read, but desperately needed to say. Like, I don't feel lovable unless I'm useful. I'm scared I'm only special when I'm silent. I don't know what being myself even means anymore. I used to perform peace. Now I practice presence. It's clumsy. It's inconsistent, but it's real. And real is worth fumbling for. I stopped responding to every DM, stopped liking posts out of obligation, stopped pretending I had the emotional bandwidth to be everyone's safe space while mine was crumbling. I'm not the hero in everyone's story anymore, and that's okay, because I'm finally showing up in my own. The mirror still surprises me sometimes, not because I look different, but because I feel here. There's no applause, no spotlight, just breath. And the quiet echo of someone who's been waiting to be seen. There's something gentle about a flickering light. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't overwhelm the room. It just says, "I'm still here." That's what truth feels like now. Not a scream, not a TED Talk, not a perfectly captioned carousel post. Just a whisper I didn't edit, a breath I didn't rehearse. I used to think healing would look like a glow-up. Flawless, confident, unshakable. But my healing? It looks like a paused voice memo, a tear halfway down my cheek. A coffee gone cold, but still sipped. Truth doesn't slay, it stumbles. And that's what makes it beautiful. The first time I told someone what I really felt, I thought the room would collapse. Instead, they nodded, said nothing, but stayed. That silence felt louder than 1,000 affirmations. Sometimes you don't need advice. You just need someone who doesn't flinch when your soul shows up unfiltered. I was afraid the truth would make me less lovable, but it made me more known. There's a difference. Love can be confused, projected, misdirected, but being known, that's sacred. That's, I see your mess, and I'm still here. So I stopped polishing every word, stopped repackaging my sadness into digestible sound bites. Now when someone asks, "How are you?" sometimes I say, "I'm somewhere between numb and hopeful. I'm here, that's all I've got." Or just, "I don't know." And you know what? That's enough. Because truth doesn't have to impress. It just has to exist. Let me tell you a quiet secret. Charisma opens doors, but only truth builds a home. And I'm done living in places where I have to smile to stay. The mirror's not fogged anymore. It's still cracked in places. But I see myself now. Not the version they applauded, not the version that went viral. Just me, underslept, overthinking, still healing, and still whole. I used to think the loudest person in the room was the strongest. Now I know the softest person in the room has survived the most silence and chose not to become it. So I light a candle every night, not for aesthetics, not for Instagram, just to remind myself, even the smallest flame can keep you warm. Even the tiniest truth can guide you home. I told someone recently, I miss the version of me that didn't need to be liked. They said, "She's not gone. She's just been waiting for you to stop performing long enough to hear her breathing." That broke me. In the best way. You know that feeling when someone texts, "Hey, thinking of you," without needing anything. That's what truth feels like inside. Unprompted, unexpected, but deeply, deeply necessary. So I've stopped auditioning. Stopped chasing seats at tables where I have to shrink. I'm not here to be everyone's favorite. I'm here to be mine. The applause used to feel like love. Now I know better. Love isn't loud. It's consistent. It's patient. It's presence. It's the friend who stays after the party. The mirror that doesn't lie. The light that flickers and never asks to be brighter. I used to think truth had to arrive dressed in wisdom, wrapped in poetic timing, framed by perfect lighting. But now I believe the most powerful truths show up barefoot, at 2 a.m., in the kind of silence that makes your chest ache before it softens. Tonight, I said something out loud that I've only ever whispered in my head. I don't need to be understood to be real. And that felt like a revolution, not a loud one. More like a candle finally letting itself burn without apologizing for not being the sun. Try this. Say one thing you believe, even if your voice shakes, even if it's ugly, even if it doesn't come with a quote or a conclusion. Say it for no one else. Say it without cleaning it up. Say it like it's been waiting since childhood to come out. Then, let it breathe. I left my phone face down today. Not because I was mad, but because I was finally listening to something louder than notifications. My own heartbeat. It sounded unfamiliar, but honest, like a drum that had been playing under all the noise this whole time. I'm in my healing era now. And no, it doesn't mean I'm glowing. It means I cry more in safe places. It means I laugh louder with fewer people. It means I soft block memories that don't honor me anymore. It means I let myself feel without making it a performance. Someone once told me, "You're the most grounded person I know." I smiled, said thanks. But what I wanted to say was, I'm not grounded. I just learned how to fall without screaming. I still mess up, still say sorry when I don't need to, still reach for the mask when the silence gets too loud. But now I catch myself, I breathe, and I choose presence instead of polish. Even if it's awkward, even if it makes someone uncomfortable, especially then. You don't have to shine all the time. You don't have to package your pain to make it palatable. Some truths aren't for the timeline. Some moments don't need to trend. And some parts of you, the soft ones, the strange ones, the ones still stuttering, deserve love without applause. There's a note I wrote last week. Just one sentence. I folded it and tucked it inside a book I hadn't opened in years. It said, "You're not too much. You're just not meant to be muted." I didn't write it for Instagram. I wrote it for the version of me who used to shrink just to be chosen. If no one's told you this lately, let me. You don't have to earn rest, or softness, or love that stays even when you're not glowing. You are allowed to be a quiet miracle, unseen, but still sacred, tired, but still worthy. And if the only thing you did today was not vanish, that's holy too. Because staying present, with your breath, your ache, you're not quite there yet, takes courage most people will never see. But you will feel it, and that's enough. I don't have a perfect ending. Just this. A window cracked open. A breeze I didn't shut out. A candle still burning. Not because I forced it, but because it chose to stay lit. That's the divine, I think. Not a miracle. Just a memory. Remembered in time.